It's been 16 years since the Avalanches released their landmark debut, Since I Left You, and the world hasn't been the same since, although that's mostly due to 9/11. But Zac, what affected you more?
For those that are kind of wondering what's all the fuss about, the Avalanches stitched together this record from like literally thousands of samples 16 years ago, and then just kept talking about the next record, but never put it out until soon.
But
we're not quite there yet. But people fucking love this record. Like, people really love this record.
They're kind of like our Chumbawamba, aren't they? You know, like just real like national heroes, just an export that you feel really proud about. People talk about, oh, In Excess, oh, the drones, Akadaka, blah, blah, blah. Me, I'm an Avalanches man.
It's actually really, really good. It's better than I remember it being. I mean, one of the Avalanches claims that there's over 3,500 samples on it, but then I read a review of it that said 900 samples. I don't know, but either way, it's an exorbitant amount of samples.
I feel like I love a lot of the tracks on this record, but I feel like some of them are like really repetitive, and they're just kind of like the same sort of mantra repeated over and over again with a very sort of like similar kind of syntax to the way they arrange like the vocal parts. So it's just like, you know, same thing repeated 3 times and then like a slight twist to the vocal sample and then over and over again. So that's your 16-bar loop. And they just kind of sit on that for like 5 minutes. And like it's kind of vaguely groovy, but it's not that danceable because the production's actually kind of dated. And it's like not really that pleasant to listen to. I find the more sedate moments the best.
Sure. I mean, it is a thing where like people talk about, you know, there's 3,500 samples and they've got these really broad, like Exotica style, like record collections and they're pulling from everything. But the truth is that like the vast majority of these samples are being pulled to create disco house. You know what I mean? Like it's not a particularly diverse record for a record that is built off of 3,500 samples.
Yeah, except for Frontier Psychiatrist,
Except
which
for
is far and away like, you know, those things that people create that just kind of like hover above the artist. It's just like, it's a wonderful moment.
I've heard that song referred to as like the most annoying song ever made. But yeah, I think despite the detractors, I'm all about it. I'm with you. I reckon that it's weird, man. It's a fucking weird song, even when you've heard it thousands of times. When you listen to it in the context of the album and everything's kind of like hippy dippy and friendly, and then suddenly it's just this bizarro, like the actual like hip hop beat, like the riff that they've gone with, it's just like so bizarre.
Ridiculous mariachi band thing they've found.
Yeah.
A lot of the other production I find like a little bit mindless and repetitive. Even the end of Since I Left You, when they're just like fucking around with the sample, and it just gets really annoying.
And here's the thing that any Avalanche boy or girl is going to tell you to your face, is that no one did it before or since. And it's true. And it's true. And that is a big compliment to any record. You're going, but it's true. Whether all of that like sampling amounts to something much bigger than like a disco house mixtape, perhaps remains to be seen. I mean, it is different and it is unique, and it isn't just a regular disco house mixtape. But actually, it's more similar than you would think for something that's meant to be impossibly individual.
But it's a great record.
It's a great record,
I agree with you,
and it's a great experiment, and that's why for me it's certainly a 4 Zac and half a Gotchy record. But for me, it's never really found that extra half a Gotchy.
Yeah, I like this record. I think it was really enjoyable listening to it properly for the first time. I dallied before, but yeah, for me that's a 4 Zacka. Since I left you, the Avalanches. Mac Gotch signing off with 4 Zacks.